right, let's talk about the mysteries of the ancient world and which ones might have been human-made and which ones might have been more alien in nature. So let's talk about it. Get in here. This is Jack with Cosmic Road. I talk about UFOs and the paranormal. Please hit like and subscribe and let me know what you think in the comments below. Yeah, I mean, there's so many connections around the world in the ancient days that seem, in my mind, and many others, to smack of, Atlantis. Think of that as a placeholder name for, whatever ancient, vanished, high civilization or civilizations that there used to be, whether there was a literal Atlantis or not. There's connections like this, where you see basically the exact same sort of architecture in Peru and Turkey. And there's connections like that all around the world. I've made those videos. Others have made much better videos. And I think that's super fascinating. And to my mind, that's clear proof of Atlantis, of some sort of lost culture that shared its technology and know-how with the rest of the world in the ancient days. But some of this stuff, in my mind, seems more alien in nature. What are we talking about? Well, for example, we're talking about the elongated skull people, and also, of course, the skull binding around the world. Now, there, were various cultures around the world that did indeed practice skull binding. Why did they do that? Well, the general thought, my thought anyway, is that they did this to emulate beings that they were interacting with. Now, we might think of these like the Nazca beings, like the Nazca mummy beings. They were interacting with the people of the Nazca region. And other places around the world were also probably likely interacting with beings that weren't human. I don't know what the Nazca beings were, but they seemed, and from my own research, to have been hybrids of some sort. I don't know why they were created, but that's what they seem to be. Were these other beings that others were interacting with around the world also hybrids, or were they, the real, alien? They're the real deal. Who knows? Probably some sort of mix of the two. But what can't be denied is that various cultures around the world were practicing skull binding, and it's very unlikely to me that they all, arrived at this very peculiar practice independently of each other. Probably they had the same source cause, and that's emulating, the beings. Possibly emulating the elongated skull people, the genuinely elongated skull beings that, did not practice head binding, but they just had elongated skulls. We have many examples of those in the Paracas area. Of course, some of the Nazca beings also had elongated skulls like Maria and Montserrat, which is interesting. So are they emulating one or the other or something altogether different? I don't know. Either way, I think that's very significant that there was this worldwide practice of skull binding. And I used ChatGPT to help me out with creating some maps, and we'll go through that. This is the skull binding map where you can see various cultures around the world that did indeed practice skull binding. So were all of these cultures interacting with beings with NHI of one kind or another? I think that's very likely, but let me know what you guys think. Either way, I think this particular mystery of the ancient world has to do more specifically with alien contact. But there's others like the interesting masonry that we just saw, the interlocked masonry that in my mind is more Atlantean. And I used ChatGPT to help me come up with a map of various sites around the world that were doing this sort of engineering in different ways. And it's color-coded so you can see the different types of masonry involved. The green is the bosses with the nubs on the blocks. Like we just saw, those examples also included the nubs. So very intriguing. What other mysteries of the ancient world are there? Well, of course, there's the mounds that were not just in the Americas, but were all around the world. And that is really intriguing to me that there was this worldwide mound building effort. In many of these places, not just in the Americas, but around the world, these mounds were associated with giants. I just think that's really interesting that the mounds that were associated with giants, that was not simply a localized thing in the Americas. That wasn't some sort of an American myth that sprang out of these mounds. No, indeed, they were worldwide, which is super fascinating. So what does that mean? Are the worldwide mounds evidence of something more alien or something more Atlantean, something more human? What were the giants? Were they some sort of hybrid species like the Nazca beings seem to have been? That's where my mind goes. So I think this is more evidence of NHI rather than something human or Atlantean. So that's 2 for alien and 1 for Atlantis in my mind. But what about the pyramids? The pyramids all around the world. Super fascinating. I love the pyramids. What the heck were they? One of the most interesting pieces of evidence about the pyramids comes from a remote viewing done by Dick Algeier and Daz Smith at the behest of the Farsight Institute. And they were seeing that, aliens were involved in the creation of the Great Pyramid. Now, I have some reservations about that remote viewing because it was done by Courtney Brown, who has some very strong opinions about the phenomenon and kind of a negative opinion about the phenomenon, about the UFOs and aliens. And indeed, that's what they were seeing, these negative entities in association with the construction of the Great Pyramid. Now, they did see a shift that seemed to occur, that one group of entities was in charge of the pyramids, and then a different group came and took over. And we don't have a lot of information about which one was the good one and which one was the bad one, if either was particularly good or particularly bad. But one does seem to have been more negative and one more positive, but not a lot more information about that, unfortunately. So because I don't entirely trust the remote viewing, because Courtney Brown does have such strong views that and he was the tasker, so that may have colored the remote viewing. I'm not sure how strongly to include that as a piece of evidence or not, even though Daz Smith and Dick Algeier are terrific remote viewers. So is the pyramid more alien? If the Great Pyramid was originally built or inspired by NHI, what about the rest of the pyramids? I don't know if they were all built by aliens. I don't think they were. I think that this is, made with the assistance of high technology of some sort in many of these cases, whether that's alien technology that was gifted or Atlantean, I don't know. One of the things that intrigues me most is how many of the pyramids in the Americas were devoted to human sacrifice. So if it was Atlanteans or the aliens that made them, that doesn't bode super well, if that's what they were built for. But using ChatGPT again, forgive me, the earliest pyramids in the Americas were not made for human sacrifice. That's right. The early pyramids, 3000 to 1000 BC, for example, the Caral Pyramid in Peru. Yeah, it all comes back to Peru, guys. The oldest large pyramids in the Americas were built at Caral and nearby sites. These were platform mounds with plazas used for ritual gatherings, feasting, music, and offerings. Archaeologists have not found evidence of human sacrifice. Instead, they found offerings like textiles, gourds, musical instruments, and food. The focus seems to have been on communal ritual in cosmic order, not blood sacrifice. Now, in life, the Caral region, or the city of Caral, or the Pyramid of Caral, looks something like this. This very intriguing structure. You see this kind of an arena. And from Ancient History's post, or from Ancient History on Facebook, the ancient city of Caral in modern-day Peru predates the great civilizations of Mesoamerica and the Andes. Yet its advanced urban planning, monumental architecture, architecture and mathematical precision remain largely unexplained. Dated to around 2600 BC, Corral's design includes pyramidal structures, sunken circular plazas, and a sophisticated irrigation system, all developed in a period where metallurgy and ceramic technology were supposedly absent. The presence of quipu, knotted cord recording devices, suggests that the region's complex information storage systems predate the Inca by millennia. More intriguingly, no evidence of warfare or fortifications has been found, implying that its influence spread through cultural and economic exchange rather than conquest. The city's construction aligns with precise astronomical orientations, indicating a deep understanding of celestial mechanics. Given the lack of antecedent civilizations in the region, Corral challenges the conventional model of gradual societal development, hinting at a lost source of knowledge or an external influence that shaped early Andean civilization. And that's my question. Is it that lost human knowledge, or is it alien? Is it this external force? But yeah, over the centuries, across coastal Peru and Mesoamerica, pyramidal buildings spread. Temples often contain offerings of fruit, food, pottery, and animals. Some burials were incorporated into the structures, but widespread ritual killing of humans was not yet the central function. Apparently, that didn't happen until this current era, as we're calling it. So I think that puts my mind to rest at whatever created pyramids in the ancient world in the Americas. It was not built on sacrifice, on human sacrifice. So I still can't quite decide in my mind if it was more Atlantean or more alien, but I'm leaning toward Atlantean. But let me know what you guys think. Let me know what you think about the mounds. Let me know what you think about skull binding, and let me know what you think about the interlocked masonry and other potential evidence of shared construction methods around the world. Which ones do you think are more alien? Which do you think are more Atlantean? Or do you think something else explains it altogether? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Like and subscribe. Hit the bell to be notified of future videos. You don't want to miss a thing. Join me on social media. There's Facebook and Twitter links below. Love to see you guys there. If you want to support Cosmic Road in a bigger way, consider grabbing a coffee mug or a t-shirt in the merch store below. Become a channel member. Channel members are rock stars, and I really do appreciate you guys' support. Thank you. Meanwhile, there's plenty of other videos on the channel, and I'll see you next time. This is Jack with Cosmic Road, signing out.